Welcome to Looking at the Markets. Buy low, sell high. That's a strategy that I like to use, and I like to use indicators sometimes to help me with that, so I can find stocks that are low enough that they're in the buy zone, possibly. And so I'm using trendspider.com, and I'm using their indicators. So if you want to get these awesome charts for yourself, you can go to trendspider.com, or you can click on the link in the description below this video to take you to that website, and you could try it out yourself. So I'm using the Bollinger Bands over here on the standard settings, which is 2 standard deviations above and below for the upper and lower bands. And I'm using the RSI Relative Strength Index, where 30 is oversold and 70 is overbought, and 14 period for the RSI, and the 20 period moving average is the midline for the Bollinger Bands. Okay, so let's start off with AT&T for the first one. That is T is the ticker symbol, and this one, look at that RSI right there. This thing just dipped below the 30 oversold line on the relative strength index, and that tells me that it might be in the buy zone. Maybe time to, now you have to make your own decisions as to whether you're going to buy or sell or whatever you want to do, anything, okay? Don't buy something just because somebody in a video says it's in the buy zone or because the RSI tells you to. Okay, that's not the idea. You're looking at the big picture. Now, if you want the Bollinger Bands to be your indicator, well, AT&T stock is not quite at that oversold level quite yet. It's getting there. And the Bollinger Bands also tell you how volatile a stock is. You know, when those Bollinger Bands are skinny, then volatility is usually very low, and then the Bollinger Bands get wide, and that means volatility is expanding or increasing. And that's important, especially if you're an options trader. You want to know that kind of information. So am I going to buy AT&T stock just yet? Probably not, but it's getting pretty close to where I want it to be, that's for sure. Let's try PayPal, PYPL stock. And this one, oh, look at that. Right at the lower Bollinger Band, and the Bollinger Bands are getting wider. This is volatility increasing here, and so if you're an options seller, maybe you sell put options, that kind of thing, this is really starting to get interesting. And look at the RSI. This thing went below 30 just a little bit. Yeah, 29.57 according to TrendSpider on the RSI. I like where PayPal is, PYPL stock. Whether you're a put option seller or maybe just a stock buyer, that's looking pretty good there. I'm glad I use these indicators to help me. Pfizer, that is PFE stock. RSI at 24.88. Wow, it's getting low. And look at this thing. This is down, 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 riding that lower Bollinger Band. Very interesting. Pfizer stock's looking cheap there, looking oversold. Yeah, now what some people do, they wait for it to bounce up. Okay, so they may wait for the RSI to go below 30 and then pop back above 30. You can do that if you want to, if you want some sort of confirmation that the downtrend is coming to a possible end. But there are never guarantees with that. Or you could just buy low and sell higher, right? And these stocks are low. UAA, Under Armour. I know there's another Under Armour stock, UA, but this one's UAA. And yeah, definitely looking oversold on both indicators, Bollinger Bands and RSI. RSI is definitely below 30. It's in the 26s, 26.3. Wow. Yeah, this thing's really beaten down. So if you like the company, Under Armour, athletic wear, that kind of thing, I don't know if you want to buy retail necessarily if you think there are going to be tough economic times, though. So there is risk definitely in retail stocks, but might be worth thinking about. Exxon Mobil, XOM stock. Look at these Bollinger Bands getting tight because of all that sideways price action day after day. These are daily candlesticks, by the way. Day after day of sideways. And so what often happens, not always, is when the Bollinger Bands get really tight, that means that a breakout, break to the upside or break down to the downside could happen very soon, because stocks typically don't go sideways forever, do they? So in this case, it resolved to the downside very sharply, but it's pretty cheap. Yeah, looking very close to the lower Bollinger Band. Not quite as low as I want it to be yet, 31 or so on the RSI. So I'm going to wait till it gets a little bit lower. And look, it's been lower. It's been below 100. So I'm just going to be patient on this one, on Exxon Mobil stock. CVS. Let's take a look. CVS stock. Yeah, right at that lower band. Look at that candle there, right sitting on that lower Bollinger Band after a big red day, I would say. And then RSI just gave a possible buy signal, went below 30. That could be your entry point right there. I wouldn't go in big. Okay, position sizing, that's super important here. But CVS, possibly in the buy zone there. AbbVie stock, ABBV. And this is going down fast. Not exactly where I want it to be. Look at that. Tight Bollinger Bands close together for AbbVie stock, and then it resolved to the downside very sharply. So those Bollinger Bands expanded. You've got some volatility here. If you're an option seller, that's interesting. Even if you're a stock buyer, this is starting to look interesting. Below 29 a little bit on the RSI. I don't get that confirmation kind of feel, though, on the Bollinger Bands. So it's not where I want it just yet. I want it lower. Paramount Global, PARA stock, looking pretty good here. Yeah. RSI, 28 or so. That's pretty cheap. It's been cheaper. But actually, this is the cheapest it's been for quite a while. Look at this whole chart here. Yeah, so if you've been waiting for this thing to go below 15, well, you got it. Yeah, and this is a big company. I'm surprised the market is beating down PARA, Paramount Global stock. Huge entertainment streaming company. This is looking pretty interesting. Kind of liking it. Speaking of streaming and entertainment, that kind of thing, I know Disney also has theme parks, but it's trying to be a big name in streaming as well with Disney Plus. DIS stock at the lower Bollinger Band. Volatility is increasing. Bollinger Bands are getting wider. RSI not confirming it for me. 35.5. Yeah, let's get this lower before I even think about it. 91 or so. Yeah, let's see if we can get it below 90. Then we'll talk. I'm watching it, though. Watching it for me and for you at the same time. So we can all benefit from this technical analysis here. Hecla Mining. HL stock, if you're into the mining companies. This one is starting to look like it's close to the buy zone or in there. I do see it at the lower Bollinger Band. Oversold according to the Bollinger Bands. And oversold on the RSI, 28.5 or so on the RSI, Relative Strength Index. Yeah, kind of liking it, but you have to like the metals, okay? If you're going to get into the miners, understand that you have to study your metals, of course, and not everybody wants to do that, but money can be made. A lot of money can be made if you invest in the right mining companies at the right time, so maybe worth your while to study those sorts of things. Spirit Airlines, SAVE stock. I don't know if people talk about SAVE stock, Spirit Airlines, that much. I think it's worth looking at. On the RSI, 28.77. Okay. Bollinger Bands, getting down to the bottom band and then bouncing a little bit. Not a strong bounce. This is not a screaming buy for me, but I'm going to keep watching this. It certainly is cheaper than it was just a month ago, 2 months ago, something like that. Yeah, I'll watch it. And Home Depot, HD stock. They had an earnings report that I thought wasn't all that terrible, but the market reacted not so great. A negative reaction to it, at least at first. So we've got it sitting. It's an unusual looking candle here. Candlestick, daily candlestick, sitting at the lower Bollinger Band. Very interesting. It's bounced off of that lower Bollinger Band on multiple occasions. Could happen again. RSI, 39.42. So it's going to have to go lower before I'm convinced that this is really a bargain. But yeah, I'm going to watch that one for sure. If I had to pick one a couple that I really like right now, the first two actually I brought up today, AT&T and PayPal. I'm liking those. Yeah. Those are looking pretty good. So, but you have to decide what you want to do. Of course, it's your money. No one's going to be responsible for it except you. So be careful out there. Have an exit strategy at all times. And if you want to get the trend spider charts, you can click on the link in the description area below this video to go to trendspider.com. You will not be disappointed, in my opinion. Hopefully, I don't think you'll be disappointed. So it's worth checking out. All right, so thank you so much for watching and listening. I will talk to you again soon.